I used to be a forklift driver, but nowadays I'm a doctor in cardiovascular biology. I hope to inspire people. Not that there's anything wrong with being a forklift driver. Now based at Cambridgeshire life science measurement and testing company LGC, Bert describes his work as developing ultra-sensitive immunoassays that can detect 0.00000000000000001 grams of protein in 1 litre of blood. I think that's a femtogram, but I wouldn't bet on it. I bet some of the audience will know. Now, Bert is getting married in a couple of months. He says he plans to teach a science class during his honeymoon, although you can take that in several different ways, and that his fiancée signed him up to FameLab, possibly to distract him from the wedding preparations. Whatever the reason, clearly worked. Stand by to be inspired and possibly uplifted by forklifter turned FameLabber, Bert Rutten.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first boxing match in FameLab history. In the left corner, with the big smile, is the contender of tonight, Mr. Confidence. In the other corner, wearing the sad face, is the champion of the world, Mr. Insecurity. Well, okay, this is not me just doing silly, because we all fight with feelings of insecurity. When I was 16, I felt insecure because one of my teachers told me that I couldn't become a doctor. Nowadays, I have a PhD in cardiovascular biology. So tonight, I would like to give you 37 trillion reasons why we are all winners. Are you ready for that? So, the very first step. Are you ready for the very first step? Yeah. I said, are you ready? Yeah. Great. The very first step is the fusion of an egg cell and a sperm cell and the creation of what scientists call a totipotent stem cell. Now, a totipotent stem cell is like a factory assembly line because it can produce an unlimited number of new cells. The production of each new cell is controlled by a cell cycle checkpoint. Now, a cell cycle checkpoint is like a traffic light. When it is on red, it forces abnormal cells to self-destruct in a process called apoptosis. But when it is on green, it allows healthy cells to divide in a process called mitosis. Now, all these cells must pass the checkpoint, must pass checkpoint tests. But once they pass the checkpoint test, then they branch out. They branch out into those biological telephone lines that we call nerve cells. And they branch out into those complex memory sticks that we call brain cells. And ultimately, they branch out into a human being consisting of 37 trillion cells. Now, I don't know how many cells fail the checkpoint test, but I do know that we take it for granted that we go from a single cell into trillions of cells. So if there's one thing that I want you to take home tonight, then it is next time when that annoying Mr. Insecurity shows up, knock him out by remembering that there are 37 trillion reasons why we are all winners on this weird, wonderful, wacky, wonky, amazing planet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very entertaining.
Thank you.
Very, very good. I wanted to pick up something that you were talking to our last contestant about, and it's about filtering down very, very complex science into analogies. I work with analogies a lot. How far do analogies get you in being able to fully describe your subject? Or do you just end up drilling down further into analogy?
Analogies are, you can't do them good and you can't do them wrong. It's really difficult. So you simplify things, and you don't want to oversimplify because science is complicated and we should not talk like everything is really easy to explain. But analogies do help to make people understand and to give them that moment. And that's why I like analogies, because it really helps them to understand it. There is a thin line that we're walking here then.
Do you get frustrated, though? Do you go, well, the analogy only gets me so far, because I can't...
I did a PhD. The analogies don't frustrate me anymore.
You should come to where I am. It's all just analogy. It's great.
This idea of a checkpoint in cellular division and apoptosis, do those kind of ideas translate to something probably people think more about, like cancer development? And
that's a really good question, because exactly in the disease cancer, checkpoints play a crucial role. And what cancer cells do is they overrule these checkpoints. And they figure out ways to put all the traffic lights on green. So there are actually 3 checkpoints. And my favorite one is the last one, which is the division checkpoint. This is where the cell decides that all the things that it produced are okay, and that the cell is allowed to continue down the road of cell development. Well, I see this as that checkpoint is the cellular graduation party of the University of Life, where we all graduate and become PhD in cellular perfection. That's really true. And it is amazing. These checkpoints are awesome. And that's,
you lost for words.
Yeah, a little bit. Right.
Okay.
Very rarely lost for words, you'll understand. You're very confident. Has that come from doing science, or has that... It seems like it might have always been there, to be honest. Has that helped you be a scientist, being as confident as you are?
My confidence is because I learned a couple of things along the way that as Quinton introduced me, I started out as a forklift driver. And a lot of people told me that I couldn't become a scientist. Until I heard a guy called Les Brown say that someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that really triggered something in me. And that was that I said, you know what, I can go back to university and get a degree. Which I did. And it gives you a certain level of confidence when you overcame these obstacles. So to bring it back to the topic, if you think about all the obstacles that cells overcame, and there are 37 trillion cells.
Nice.
It is amazing to...
Nice segue. sorry. I'm confident your opinion of Bert Rutten will be excellent. Thank you, Bert. I also noticed from what he